Good morning, ToGA brothers. It's Sean. As you can see, I'm in my Hawaiian shirt. I have my cross. I just bought this not long ago, but that has nothing to do with this video. Just things you may have observed, things you may have just noticed. And yes, behind me, I have my light on. I'm trying to cover it up. I would like to start this video off by telling you that I've learned a lot this year, and I've learned a lot in the past couple of years, let's say 4 years. And in doing so, it's made me consciously a more mature and more dealable and more pleasant person. So having said that, what I'm going to tell you is often in times we talk about, emotions, right? And we talk about those hard ones. We talk about anger, we talk about stress, we talk about disgust, we talk about sadness, we talk about death, we talk about people leaving the happy things, okay? But the one thing that we talk about, which I think doesn't get enough attention in some departments of it, okay, is love. And love is tricky because love basically encompasses everything. It encompasses your whole life, okay? And I know that my best friend is going to get rather annoyed with me. Kind of funny because I'm going to use this person. Full disclosure, we're not an item. We're not together. But we are platonically really, really, really close. Okay? And I'm going to use them as an example because I'm going to use and express the scenario so you understand the severity and the complexity of the real meaning of the word, because people throw it out, people overuse it, people overdo it, and they don't fully understand the value and benefit of the word and its entirety of its meaning, okay? So, I've known this person for 5 years now, okay? And they've known me for quite some time, and we've had basically for most of it an online connection, an online established, friendship, okay? And it's been platonic. So years ago, I hadn't really said anything to this person, and I did a few things being on the spectrum. We just kind of impulsively, sometimes compulsively, we do things. We don't understand the implication. We don't understand the dynamic. We don't understand the consequences of our actions, and it falters. It fails. Okay? Now, why am I explaining this to you? Because you already know this. Well, for you, it's already ingrained in you. It's already solidified. It's concrete. You don't have to do anything. If it's bad, you don't do that action. For people like me on the spectrum, we have to consciously tell our brain it's a bad thing, don't do it. And while doing that, I have to now consciously, at the same token, come up with a thing to negate that bad thing, okay? So for you guys, you would just do a thing and it would wipe out the bad part, the negative of it. So like, hey, this is a cool guy, cool dude. Where us, we are a little slow, and the reason we're slow is because our brain is computing this like a computer. Keep in mind, our brain sort of acts like a Pentium 3 in the age of this new AMD, CPU, Intel, X3 processors type thing, right? So our processor is old, still has the same function, still has the same parts, still goes in the same thing, and it still operates the same. But it's generations and generations and generations long ago old, okay? Now, I don't mean to tell you that we will never be a regular human being. No, I'm telling you this because we process things differently. We process them slower and more in depth so that we don't make fatal mistakes for us as social people, okay? Because we're not here to alienate ourselves. We're here to fit in, but we don't get the rules and regulations of being socially normal. So sometimes we fail within the system of being socially accepted, okay? So while discussing that for you guys, um, years ago, one of my buddies that I met on the internet, okay, in a chat forum, I was just casually trying to make friends, meet new people, and they mentioned something about LASIK. And then I went back and forth and I talked to him, and I was like, I didn't think nothing of it. Well, we got close, we had a connection, we had a lot of chemistry, and we took our connection after that program, okay, and we decided, let's get to know one another even more. So I exposed myself a little bit deeper, a little bit more heavier, a little bit more open and truthful, right? It wasn't like I was lying, but I wasn't expressing my sadness. I wasn't expressing my depressions. I wasn't expressing my happiness, my goals, my ambitions. I was just expressing the outer parts of me, the masked, unmasked parts of me, okay? Meaning like the things I find funny, the things that I think are kind of ridiculous, but everybody does that. But not everyone tells you what makes you sad, what makes you cry, what makes you tear, what makes you laugh, what makes you smile, all that stuff, okay? So we had a bit of a good connection, and then I would occasionally tell them, hey, let's do this, right? And they would reciprocate and say, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's do it. Now, being ADD or being on the spectrum, I often forget, okay? You ever forget things? Me too. It's kind of funny. We have that in common, okay? Well, being that we're on the spectrum, that's not intentional, okay? It just happens. It occurs, right? It just flows through our brain, and then when it happens, you're like, why didn't you say anything? Like, because our brain hasn't processed to audibly inform you and tell you this is happening, okay? So there were a couple of times where we would agree to do something, and then I'd forget, and then I'd go hang out with a friend, or I would go out and do an errand, but instead of it being a 2-minute errand, it turns out to be an hour and a half errand. And we were supposed to have watched or seen something or done something in 15 minutes after I had done that 2-minute errand, right? So they're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, irritated, like, ugh, I'm done. I'm not waiting around anymore. I gave them, the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to do me, this being this person, her, okay? I'm not going to disclose the names because I'm just trying to keep her name out of this. But she knows who she is, and you all can figure it out. And so there were moments where I was on the receiving end. I had said, hey, just to let you know, now would be a good time. Let's go do this. And so we would do it, and then 5 minutes in or 20 minutes in, no response. Like, we would text back and forth because they live in a different area, a different part of where I would live, even a different country, okay? And so they would basically go back and forth, and then it's like boom, 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 boom. 10 minutes later, a reply. 30 minutes later, a reply. 20 minutes later, a reply. And they were getting slower and slower and slower. But it wasn't like I was angrily messaging back and forth. I was just having a regular conversation, trying to keep it going as anybody would, right? So it got to the point where they were like, hey, so if you're going to be out, if you're going to do something and know that you can't make a specific time or commitment, do us a favor, do us a solid, and say something, okay? Now, I know that's regular human effort. It's regular human action to do that. Now, do I remember it 100% of the time? No. Do I remember it 60% of the time? Kind of, Maybe not 75%, but maybe 60 is more of an accurate answer. Now, and that's something that's really common. People with autism don't really hit the mark of being a social person 100%, 100%, 100%. We'll be there, but we may not be there 100%. But guarantee we're giving you 150% of our effort. The metrics you're looking for in a person, in a friend, in a companion, drop. Okay, so you're probably looking at about 70%, completion and accuracy, when we're really giving you 100% and more, 150. Okay, because trust me, we will move mountains for people that make us feel good, want us, make us valued, and see us. Okay, trust and believe, those 4 things. If you all can do that, I'll move mountains. Okay, and I speak for all my other comrades, people on the spectrum. Okay, we just want to be loved. We want to be heard. We want to be seen. Okay. Back to the whole video. Try not to get off track here and trying to, divert myself, because I want to keep this short and sweet and, stout. So, having her basically tell me, okay, I've given you plenty of chance. You still do it. I'm over it now. I'm just used to it. Like, that hurts. To have someone say, I don't like what you're doing is one thing, but to have someone close to you and that tell you you're not improving, you're just doing it over and over and over again, so I'm just going to accept it, right? I'm just going to accept that it happens, not be happy about it, but not get mad about it. Kind of neutral. And so that really kind of made me step it up, say, okay, so if I know I can't be there, be like, hey, I can't be there at a specific time. Just letting you know it's going to be an extended period of time while I'm away and we plan something. Can I take a rain check? Can I do this later? Can we reschedule it? Something, right? Now, on their end, I know that these people work really hard. I know that they have a busy schedule. They have a busy life. And they can't always do what I want to do when I want to do them, how I want to do them. I've accepted that. But I've accepted it in a loving way. I've accepted that they're not like me, and that's okay. Now, moving forward in this, because I want you to understand the severity and the correlation of these 2 things, and how what I'm doing and what they're doing is the same thing, but I'm getting to one common core idea, and it's what love truly is. Okay. Now, one of the things that they do, not on a consistent basis, but sometimes, and again, like in their words, I've just began to accept it, right? Now, I'm not saying I wish better of you. I'm just saying I like you for who you are. I love you and I adore you, and I'm willing to accept what's happening because I adore all of you. I don't just like this part of you and hate this part of you, or I like this part of you and wish you would change this part of you. If I love you and I like you, I have to accept all of you, right? It's like going to a big fancy restaurant. You can't expect one good thing and only eat that one good thing. They want you to eat the whole plate. You got to love the whole plate, right? So, same in this scenario. So, we would go, do something like, for example, watch a movie, watch a show, and backtrack. So, it would be, that slow response. And I pretty much have figured out this person fell asleep. They passed out. They were doing something like made a snack or did something, didn't say anything, right? Remember, keep in mind, we're different places, so I'm trying to connect in real time as we do this, so we can both be on the same page. Like, I can watch it the same minute, they can watch it the same minute. So we have to communicate that time difference, that time thing, critically to each other. Like, hey, pause it, or hey, I'm at this time, or hey, I'm doing this, so stop it. We'll come back later. Cool, I got you. What happened was they never said that they fell asleep. You see the disconnect here? Again, I love this person. I would move mountains. I adore them. They make me smile. I keep grinning every time I see them and, see their name. It means the world to me. They're my safe space, okay? But when you love somebody, folks, and I mean Love, that song, L's for the way you look, O is for the only thing I see, V is very, very extraordinary, E is even more than anything that you adore is love, okay? And yes, I don't know why I memorized that part, but I did, and it's a really good song. It's a traditional song, and it's a original song. It's a good classic one for us. But anyway, so I have accepted that when she falls asleep, it's not intentional. Again, when I don't convey the message, I'm not going to be home, so we can watch it before you fall asleep, so I can be on time and prompt, which is one of the things I know that this person is a real stickler about. She's just learned to let it go. She's learned to accept it, right? We're on that same page, right? But I am actively trying to communicate this to this person, her, okay? Well, just recently, like, for example, tonight, we were watching a movie, and it was a long one. It's about a 2-hour movie, and we kind of have to watch, the movie to understand the part. It was a Disney movie, okay? And guys, Disney. Disney loves to stick details in their movies, and you gotta watch them and follow them, and then connect all the dots, and then boom, there's a good movie, right? It was basically like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, oh, sorry, I passed out. Now, at that point, what I could have done and would have done is get angry, throw a fit, and say, all right, I'm done. I'm not watching any movies with you anymore. That was the old me. The new me, what I've learned, doing a marriage, a divorce, and a remarriage of both my mother and father, it's not the end of the world. Now, if this is happening on a consistent basis, and you're doing it intentionally, with intention in the voice of the infliction and action, then you have something else to talk about. Now, am I intentionally going to do that same mistake next time? No. Is she going to do the same mistake next time? No. Matter of fact, we've had multiple times where I've watched entire shows. We'll watch reality shows, 4 episodes with 45 minutes long, back to back to back to back. Basically, we'll be through the whole episode, the whole show. No problem. So I know it's not intentional, okay? It's just how it is. But when you love someone, deep down, intentionally adore the absolute crap out of them, other choice words I would have used, but YouTube, I said, okay, I understand you've fallen asleep. Would you like to pick this up later? I'm more than happy to pause this, stop it here, we can pick it back up. I haven't seen this movie in months, ages. I'm dying to see this movie. It's one of my biggest favorite movies of all time. Haven't seen it. Tonight I was kind of down when I noticed that they had fallen asleep because I wanted to see it together. But my feeling, my emotion, my well-being told me, if you fight and argue about this small part, when the whole picture is this person spending company time with me, their solitude, folks, when their solitude is in your surrounding, is in your vicinity, when they choose to do that with you, among anything else they could have used, could have done, could have completed, could have, chosen. That's love. I don't know how else to tell you, but that's love. Because they could have gone to bed 2 hours ago. They didn't. They stayed awake with me just enough to fall asleep. I'm not going to fault them for that because they're tired. I get that. It's like just after midnight, I would be tired too. Can't fault them for that. They don't have the same schedule I do. They get up in the morning. I get up in the afternoon because I work in the afternoons into midnights. If they had that same schedule, that would be a different story. And even then, I'd still have the same mental capacity to understand that and to deal with that. So what I'm telling you tonight, on April in 2025, when you tell somebody you love them, remember, put yourself in their shoes. If the things you're angry about, if you would have done to them, would you have been able to say, I accept it? I accept you. If you change your behavior and I see some improvement, I know it wasn't malicious. That is love. That's when you know you love somebody. Now the chemistry of that emotion between two people, like the, oxytocin and the other stuff, the hormones, you can exchange that in other ways. But that feel-good, intuitional love is when you accept it, you apologize for it, you set aside your ego, and you move forward. That's what love is all about. Set aside your ego, accept it, apologize for it, and just move on. It would devastate me if this person would have just left, would have just walked out, would have just left my life. Because watching movies with any other person is kind of boring. We talk about things that are ridiculous. We talk about things that are funny. We talk about things that are stupid. We talk about things that are off the wall. We even predict certain things. But that's just us. We find that valuable in life. I love that. That's what made me do this with this person. So you can best rest assured that if this person does this again, unintentionally, you're absolutely right that I'm going to say, you know what? I'm putting my ego aside. That's okay. You can go ahead and take a nap, fall asleep. We'll pick this up later. We can put this aside. We can do something else. I can go do something else. I can even occupy myself. Remember, I have my solitude too. If I'm choosing to spend my solitude with them and they're choosing to spend their solitude with me, game over. But the minute that dynamic changes, you're in trouble. Because now you're fighting to keep it. You don't want to be there. I'm Sean, ToGA brother. I love you.